John here from All Miniatures Great and Small, and today's unit overview is going to be the German Hetzer. This unit comes out of the German Bagration book, and I gotta admit, it's a pretty cool little tank. I think it looks really cool. It's just kind of cute. It's built off of historically off a Panzer 38T chassis, but they turned it into an anti-tank gun. So you have an option for this in Bagration. Alright, let's talk about the tank itself and its stats, shall we? The Hetzer has, we'll pop this up on the screen as well, it has is hit on 4+, and this is the Bagration version. Down the road there might be different versions of this, but we're speaking specifically Bagration. It's hit on a 4. It has a motivation of 4+, but it has the self-propelled counterattack value of 5+. All self-propelled guns, which basically means, in this case, hull-mounted gun, has a worse counterattack rating. Which means it translates into they don't stick around in assault very well. They have a last stand rating, though, of 3+, which is really nice. That keeps the unit in battle longer, even if you take some severe losses. All right, next up we have skill. They're trained 4+, but again, that self-propelled gun penalty makes their assault a 5+, so they're only squishing enemies on a 5 or higher. Again, for most self-propelled guns, things like Stugs, Hetzers, anything that's not a turreted tank, it's going to be penalized in the assault phase. Armor-wise, it has a front of 7, side armor 3, top armor 1. If that sounds familiar to you, it is because it is the same exact armor setting that a Stug has. Speed-wise, it has a tactical speed of 10 inches, a terrain dash of 12, a cross-country dash of 18, a road dash of 20, and a cross-check of 5+. Yes, 5+, my friends. That is pretty hard to deal with. Weapons-wise, it has a 7.5 centimeter gun, 32-inch range, halted rate of fire of 2, moving rate of fire of 1, anti-tank 11, 3+ firepower, forward firing, and overworked. Then we've got the Hetzer's machine guns. It's pretty much a standard machine gun, although it's only 2 shots, which is interesting. So each Hetzer only has 2 machine gun shots. Anti-tank 2 and firepower 6+, forward firing as well. So that little dinky machine gun on the top does not swivel or anything like that. Flipping the card over, we can see the cost as well as the special rules. Forward firing is pretty standard rule. You just can't. You can only hit targets fully in front of the Hetzer. Overworked means a +1 to hit for a moving rate of fire, and then Stormtrooper, which is the movement order. You can do a second movement order if you're successful with the first one. Price-wise, 3 Hetzers is 12 points, 4 Hetzers is 16 points. All right, so let's talk about the application on the field and its plus and minuses. So I guess the biggest plus, besides the fact that it just looks cute, is that it is cheap, that it's inexpensive compared to other German tanks. That's probably going to be your biggest takeaway with the Hetzer. And by that I mean 3 Hetzers cost 12 points. If you were to buy 3 Stugs, it would cost you 17 points. So by taking Hetzers instead of Tugs, you're saving yourself 5 points, which is enough to upgrade to 4 Hetzers. So it's really an interesting trade-off. The Hetzer is designed as a static defense piece. So you would not want to be attacking an enemy with Hetzers. In Flames of War turns, you don't want to be the attacker if you are, if you're playing Hold the Line or something like that. And the reason why is not only do you have a poor cross-check of 5+, but you have that overworked main gun which means if you're moving, it's one harder to hit your target. So you're you're really penalized for moving or anything like that. These would make a decent ambush unit because you can pop them up and then keep them in a good position, and maybe they just stay there all game. If you put them in a tree line or something like that, that's going to be tough for them to move from that position with a 5+ cross check. They just aren't going to go where you want them to go. Ambushing behind walls is probably going to be a lot better because they get the same concealment, but you don't have to rely on a cross check for them to run away. They'd still need a cross check coming over, obviously, but they could run away and be safe. So keep that in mind. You're really taking a lot of negatives when you take the Hetzer over a Stug. And really, as a German player, your Hetzer or your Stug, those are the two things that you're, if you want a unit to fill this type of role, which is like an assault gun and an anti-tank piece, these are your two choices as far as like medium tanks go. And again, the Stug is better all around. And I do have a Stug video that you guys can check out. I'll put a link in the video description below and have it pop up on the screen here. But the Stug is a very good tank. The Hetzer is not great, but it represents what it was at the time. Really, this was a stopgap measure for the Germans. When the Germans started building these, they were on the losing end of the war. The writing was on the wall, and things were coming apart. The Hetzer was born into that environment where, in real life, the Germans were constantly defending. So having a unit that could ambush and then run away was perfect for the Hetzer. The fact that the Hetzer was smaller and easier to produce than the bigger German tanks meant that there was more of them. So that's what you've got. So the Hetzer, again, it's going to be hard to work with, but that said, it's not terrible. I mean, yeah, it has an overworked gun, but ask any Soviet player, they got to deal with slow firing and overworked all the time. So it's not something that can't be overcome, but knowing the weaknesses of your tank is an important part of playing successfully. All right, so how can you field the Hetzers? So the Hetzers can be taken as a company. Now, the company is, I don't know if I would recommend it unless you were adding it as a second formation to an existing formation, because the Hetzer formation is just Hetzers. 1 HQ Hetzer and 3 platoons max, and that's it. No supporting AA, no supporting infantry. That's the only things in the core formation. So if you wanted to tack on a formation of Hetzers, even if it was just a couple of platoons and an HQ, you could do it relatively cheap. If you took, each Hetzer runs about 4 points, so you could take, 7 of them, 2 platoons of 3 and an HQ, and that would probably be 28 points for 7 Hetzers. So not bad. But again, as a core formation, as your only formation, I would not recommend the Hetzer at all. It might be a good addition to a infantry company that's defending. The other way to do it is to add it as a platoon, as a tank hunter platoon, and in that case you've got you can just add one of them, but you can take 3 or 4. And again, not bad if you're trying to save on points because you're taking a platoon of Panthers or something expensive. This might be a good way to squeeze in just a little bit more armor at a cheaper price, because the gun, when it's standing still, the gun is the same gun that you find on the Stug and the Panzer IV. So firepower wise, the gun's great, but the that overworked is again a tough pill to swallow. So should you invest in Hetzers? Should you add Hetzers to your German list? That's entirely up to you. I think that Hetzers is one of those units that are completely optional. everything the Hetzer can do, I hate to say it, the Stug does it better. The only place, again, where the Hetzer has it beat is in point cost and how much it costs. So really, as a German player, you could, if you've got Stugs, you're happy to live with them, and they will serve you quite well. But if you want your German army to reflect more of that desperate late war, things are falling apart at the seam feeling, you might want to add some Hetzers, for the historical feel, if nothing else. Again, I think they're really cool looking tanks. I like the kind of the tank hunter camo that Battlefront recommended. I was a fan of that. So I really like them, and so I'll probably add. I've painted up 4. That's probably good enough. So I'll probably add that to some German lists that you'll see in the future. Whether that's on our Patreon battle reports or on YouTube, I'm not sure, but you'll see these guys in action at some point, and hopefully they'll do well. Even if I'm facing them, it's cool to see those guys on the field. All right, guys, there you go. That's a look at the Hetzer Tank Hunter Platoon. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, let me know down in the comments below. Also, let me know if you think I'm missing anything. Is there something hidden about the Hetzer that makes it more attractive than a Stug besides the points? Have you guys used Hetzers successfully in tournaments or just in friendly pickup games? I'd like to hear your stories. If you like our Flames of War content, please do check out our Patreon. Link in the video description below. There you can get access to content like exclusive battle report every month for our patrons. And then you can also check us out on Facebook at All Miniatures Great and Small. Please do consider giving us a like and subscribe. Click that bell to receive notification when we release new content. Thanks for watching, and keep on wargaming.